Lieutenant Han Ta-sung pressed his face against the cold metal floor of the ship. Blood dripped from a cut above his eye. The ship shook as it prepared to leave the planet. "We can't leave him," Ta-sung shouted. His hands were balled into fists. "Fenrir saved all our lives back there." Captain Kim Do-yoon stood tall above him. His face showed no feelings. "The beast is too badly hurt. He will slow us down. We don't have enough medical supplies for a dog." "He's not just a dog." Ta-sung got to his feet. His chest heaved with anger. "Fenrir is a beast, a biological enhanced assault specialized tactical unit. He's worth 10 soldiers. The captain's eyes narrowed. "Stand down, Lieutenant." Through the ship's small window, Tae-sung could see Fenrir lying on the red dirt of Nexus 7. The wolf dog's large body was covered in deep cuts, one of his legs bent at a wrong angle. But his yellow eyes were open, watching the ship. Just 1 hour ago, Fenrir had jumped between the team and the strange aliens that attacked them. The aliens had weapons made of light. Fenrir took hits meant for Tae-sung and the others. He fought so they could escape, and now they were leaving him to die. "He'll heal. His body is made to heal fast." Ta-sung tried again. He felt hands grab his arms. It was Park Jae-ho, his teammate. "Tae-sung, stop," Jae-ho said in a soft voice. The captain made his choice. The ship engines roared louder. They were about to take off. Tae-sung thought about the day he first met Fenrir. The wolf dog was just a pup then, but already bigger than normal dogs. Scientists had mixed wolf and dog DNA, then added special genes to make the beast program. Fenrir was the best of them all. Smart, strong, and loyal. For 3 years, they had been partners. They trained together, ate together, slept in the same room. Fenrir understood commands better than any animal should. He could track targets across miles, fight better than armed men, and sense danger before machines could. Tae-sung had seen Fenrir take down enemies 3 times his size. He had watched the wolf dog swim through icy water to reach him. Once, Fenrir had even caught a bullet in his jaws, a trick they had practiced for months. And now, they were leaving him behind like trash. The ship lifted off the ground. Through the window, Tae-sung saw Fenrir try to stand. The wolf dog managed to get to 3 legs before falling again. A low growl of pain escaped the beast's throat. "I'm sorry," Tae-sung whispered, his hand pressed against the glass. "I'll come back for you." Captain Kim walked to the front of the ship. "Plot a course back to Earth. Mission report will say the beast was lost in action." Tae-sung felt something break inside him. "You can write that in your reports, sir," he said, his voice cold. "But I'll know the truth. We didn't lose him. We threw him away." As the ship rose higher, the red planet of Nexus 7 grew smaller below them. Somewhere on that hostile world, a wounded wolf dog watched the only family he had known leave him behind. The ship jumped to light speed. Stars blurred around them. Captain Kim looked at Tae-sung with hard eyes. The beast served his purpose. The mission comes first. You do well to remember that, Lieutenant. Tae-sung's hand moved to a small device in his pocket. It was Fenrir's tracking chip, the one that was supposed to be implanted in the wolf dog's neck. He had removed it during their last checkup, worried about how it might hurt Fenrir. Now it might be the only way to find him again. The mission comes first, Tae-sung repeated quietly. But this mission isn't over yet. Pain woke Fenrir. The big wolf dog opened his yellow eyes to a red sky. The ship was gone. His pack was gone. Tae-sung was gone. Fenrir tried to stand. His back leg still hurt too much to use. He fell back to the ground with a low whine. The cuts on his body had already begun to close. The scientists who made him had given him special healing powers, but it would take time. The planet Nexus 7 was not a friendly place. 2 suns beat down on the red dirt. Strange plants with sharp edges grew in patches. The air smelled wrong to Fenrir's sensitive nose. He needed water. He needed shelter. He needed to survive. Using his 3 good legs, Fenrir began to drag himself across the ground. His training told him to find high ground first. From there, he could see danger coming. It took hours to reach a small hill. By then, one of the suns had set. The temperature dropped quickly. Fenrir's thick fur helped, but he would need better shelter soon. From the top of the hill, he saw a small lake in the distance. Where there was water, there might be food. Fenrir rested until morning. His body worked all night to heal his wounds. By sunrise, he could put a little weight on his bad leg. The cuts had closed even more. The walk to the lake was hard. Twice, Fenrir had to hide from strange flying creatures with long beaks and 6 wings. They circled above, looking for prey. Fenrir stayed still under rocky overhangs until they left. At the lake, Fenrir sniffed the water carefully before drinking. It tasted strange but not bad. As he lapped at the water's edge, he saw movement. A small animal, like a lizard with too many legs, darted across a rock. Fenrir's stomach growled. He had not eaten since before the attack. Moving as quietly as his injured leg allowed, he crept toward the lizard. The creature did not see him until it was too late. The meat was tough and bitter, but Fenrir ate it all. He would need strength to heal. For shelter, he found a small cave near the lake. It was just big enough for him to fit inside. The entrance was narrow, so he could defend it if needed. That night, Fenrir dreamed of Tae-sung. They were running together in the training fields back on Earth. Tae-sung was throwing the special ball that Fenrir loved to catch. When Fenrir woke, he looked for his human friend before remembering where he was. Alone. Abandoned. Days passed. Fenrir's leg healed enough to walk normally. His cuts turned to scars and then disappeared. The special genes in his body were working well. He learned which animals were good to eat and which to avoid. He found better shelter in a larger cave that stayed cool during the hot days. He marked his territory around the lake, keeping other predators away. But something strange was happening to Fenrir. His mind felt different, clearer. He had always been smarter than normal animals. The scientists had made sure of that. But now he was thinking in new ways. One day, while hunting, Fenrir found himself planning not just for his next meal, but for the week ahead. He began to store extra food in his cave. He started to make a soft bed from the leaves of certain plants. At night, he would sit outside his cave and look at the stars. Somewhere up there was Earth. Somewhere up there was Tae-sung. The scientists who made Fenrir had never expected him to survive alone on an alien planet. They had never expected him to adapt so well. And they certainly never expected what was happening in his brain. The special mix of Nexus 7's air, water, and radiation was changing him. Day by day, Fenrir was becoming more than what his creators had intended. He was becoming something new. 6 months passed on Nexus 7. Fenrir was no longer the same wolf dog who had been left behind. His body had grown stronger. His fur had taken on a reddish tint from the planet's dust. His yellow eyes now had flecks of purple in them. But the biggest changes were in his mind. Fenrir now understood things he never had before. He could look at a broken branch and know how long ago it had snapped. He could predict the weather by the smell of the air. Most strange of all, he could remember every detail of his life with perfect clarity. One day, while hunting in a new area, Fenrir found something odd. A large metal object was half buried in the red dirt. It was not from Earth. Its shape was all wrong, with curves that made no sense. Fenrir circled it carefully. His nose told him no one had been here for a long time. Cautiously, he approached the object. It was a ship, but not like the one that had brought him to this planet. A hole in the side was just big enough for Fenrir to squeeze through. Inside, strange lights still blinked on control panels. The air smelled dead and old. Fenrir found the remains of aliens inside. They were not like the ones that had attacked his team. These were smaller, with 4 arms and skin that looked like metal. Something on one of the panels caught Fenrir's eye. It was blinking faster than the others. Without thinking, Fenrir pressed his paw against it. The ship came to life. Lights turned on. A voice spoke in a language Fenrir did not know, but somehow he understood what it wanted. It asked for help. Back on Earth, Tae-sung sat at a small desk in a basement office. After arguing with Captain Kim about going back for Fenrir, he had been demoted. Now he worked monitoring space signals. Most days were boring. Today was different. "That's strange," Tae-sung said, looking at his screen. A signal was coming from Nexus 7. It was weak but clear. His coworker, Officer Lee Min-gai, looked over. Probably just space noise. Tae-sung shook his head. "No, it's a pattern." He typed quickly, trying to clean up the signal. When he saw what was in the signal, he almost fell out of his chair. "Min-gai, look at this." Ta-sung pointed to his screen. "This is a DNA sequence." Min-gai frowned. "From Nexus 7? That doesn't make sense." Tai-sung's heart beat faster. "It's not just any DNA. It's canine DNA, but with modifications." He looked closer. "It's beast program DNA." "That's impossible," Min-jae said. "No beast has ever been to Nexus 7 except..." He stopped, seeing Tai-sung's face. "Except Fenrir," Tai-sung finished. "And he's alive." On Nexus 7, Fenrir spent more time in the alien ship. He learned how to activate different parts of it. The ship's computer seemed to respond to him in ways it shouldn't. One day, Fenrir found a room with a strange pool of silver liquid. When he looked into it, the liquid moved and formed shapes. Fenrir saw images of stars and planets. He saw maps of space, and he saw something else, a threat coming toward both Nexus 7 and Earth. The spores that grew near the lakes of Nexus 7 had gotten into Fenrir's system. They had changed his brain, making new connections. The alien ship responded to these changes, treating Fenrir as if he were one of its crew. At night, Fenrir would sit on top of a hill and look at the stars. He knew Tae-sung was up there somewhere. He knew Earth was in danger. And he knew, somehow, that he was meant to warn them. Fenrir was no longer just a beast. He was becoming something the scientists who made him could never have imagined. He was becoming the bridge between worlds. A new ship came to Nexus 7. It was not from Earth. It was bigger and shaped like a leaf. It landed near the large lake where Fenrir often hunted. Fenrir watched from a hill as strange beings came out of the ship. They walked on two legs like humans, but their skin was pale blue. They wore white suits and carried tools, not weapons. One of them seemed to be the leader. She was taller than the others. Her name was Jang Mirai, though Fenrir did not know this yet. Mirai pointed to different areas, and the others nodded. They set up machines around their ship. Fenrir stayed hidden and watched. For 3 days, Fenrir observed the aliens. They took samples of the red dirt. They collected water from the lake. They studied the strange plants. They did not seem dangerous. On the 4th day, they found something that made them excited. One of them had picked up a stick that Fenrir had used to dig for root-like plants he had found tasty. The aliens gathered around it, talking fast. Mirai took the stick and studied it carefully. She said something to the others. They began to look around more closely at the ground. Fenrir knew they had realized someone else was on this planet, someone who used tools. That night, a big storm came. The sky turned dark purple. Lightning hit the ground near the alien camp. Strong winds blew dirt everywhere. The aliens ran back to their ship. All except Mirai. The wind pushed her away from the ship. She fell down a small hill. By the time she stood up, she couldn't see the ship through the storm. Fenrir watched from his cave. Mirai was lost and alone. The storm was getting worse. And then Fenrir smelled something else. The 6-legged hunters that lived in the hills. They were coming. They could smell Mirai. Mirai tried to find her way back to the ship. She used a small light to see through the storm. That was a mistake. The light told the hunters exactly where she was. 3 of them came from different directions. They were each as big as Fenrir, with teeth like knives. They moved low to the ground on their 6 legs, ready to attack. Mireille saw one and froze. She didn't have a weapon. The hunter growled and jumped toward her, but it never reached her. Fenrir hit it from the side, his powerful jaws closing on the hunter's neck. The other 2 hunters stopped, surprised by this new threat. Mireille fell backward, watching in shock as Fenrir fought the hunter. It took only moments for Fenrir to kill it. Then he turned to face the other 2. One of the hunters decided Mireille wasn't worth the fight. It ran away. The other one was bolder. It charged at Fenrir. The fight was short but fierce. Fenrir was stronger and smarter. Soon, the second hunter lay dead. Fenrir turned to look at Mireille. She was still on the ground, staring at him with wide eyes. She said something in her language. Fenrir could not understand the words, but he knew she was afraid. Slowly, Fenrir walked toward her. He kept his head low to show he would not hurt her. When he reached her, he sat down and waited. Mireille slowly reached out her hand. Fenrir sniffed it, then gently pressed his nose against her palm. "You're not wild," Mireille said in her language. "You're something else." She took out a small device from her pocket. It made a soft humming sound as she pointed it at Fenrir. The device showed her things about Fenrir that surprised her. "You're not from this planet," she said, "and you're very, very smart." Fenrir understood that this meeting was important. This alien woman might be his way to reach Taesung, his way to warn Earth. The storm began to die down. In the distance, lights from the alien ship flashed through the dust. 2 worlds had just made first contact, and Fenrir was the bridge between them. Mireille led Fenrir to the alien ship. The other blue-skinned aliens were scared at first. They backed away when they saw the big wolf dog. But Mireille spoke to them in a calm voice, and they relaxed a little. "This animal saved my life," she told them. "And he's not just an animal. He's something more." Fenrir sat quietly and let them study him. One of the aliens held up a device that made pictures of his body and brain. They all seemed surprised by what they saw. "His brain activity is off the charts," said one. "I've never seen anything like it." Mireille nodded. "I think he understands us, even if he can't speak." She turned to Fenrir and held up a small round device. "This is a translator. It might help us talk to each other." The device lit up when she placed it near Fenrir. It made soft beeping sounds. "Can you understand me?" Mireille asked. Fenrir nodded his head once. The aliens all gasped. "Were you left here alone?" she asked. Again, Fenrir nodded. "Do you want to go home? Back to Earth?" Fenrir's yellow eyes seemed to glow. He nodded more eagerly this time. Mireille smiled. "Then we'll help you. My people, the Korra Collective, can take you there." Back on Earth, Taesung was meeting with his old teammate Park Ji-ho in a small coffee shop. "Look at this," Taesung said, sliding a tablet across the table. More signals from Nexus 7. And they all contain bits of Fenrir's DNA pattern. Ji-ho looked worried. "Taesung, you need to let this go. It's been 6 months. Even if Fenrir survived at first, he can't. He's alive." Taesung cut him off. "I know it, and someone or something is helping him send these signals." Ji-ho sighed. "What do you want me to do?" "Help me get access to a better communication system. The one in my office is too weak to send a message back to Nexus 7. "That's against the rules," Ji-ho said. "We could both lose our jobs." Taesung leaned forward. "Ji-ho, do you remember when we were trapped in that bunker in New Singapore? Who found us? Who dug through concrete to reach us?" Ji-ho looked down at his coffee. "Fenrir did. We owe him. I owe him." After a long moment, Ji-ho nodded. "Okay, I can get you access to the system in Sector 7 for about 20 minutes tonight. But that's all. That's all I need," Taesung said, his eyes bright with hope. On the Korra ship, Mireille had been working with Fenrir for days. The translator device was getting better at understanding him. It couldn't turn his thoughts into perfect words yet, but it could show simple ideas. Earth, danger. The device translated as Fenrir focused on it. What danger? Mireille asked. Bad aliens. Coming. Mireille's face grew serious. The Voidborn. Fenrir didn't know that name, but he nodded anyway. The images he had seen in the crashed ship showed aliens that wanted to destroy. How do you know this? Mireille asked. Fenrir led her to the crashed ship he had found. The Korra scientists were amazed. This ship was very old, from a race that had died out long ago. But its computers still worked. This is a sentinel ship, one of the scientists said. They were watchers who mapped the movements of the Voidborn Empire. Mireille looked at Fenrir with new respect. You've found something my people have been searching for a long time. This information could save many worlds, including Earth. That night, as Fenrir slept near the Korra ship, he was woken by a strange sound. It was coming from the translator device. Fenrir, Fenrir, are you there? This is Tae-sung. If you can hear me, I'm coming for you. Hold on. Fenrir's ears perked up. He let out a happy howl that echoed across the red plains of Nexus 7. His human was looking for him. And now, with the help of the Korra, he would find him. 2 weeks later, a large ship entered Earth's orbit. It was not an Earth ship. It was from the Korra Collective. Earth's defense systems went on high alert. Unknown vessel, identify yourself and state your purpose, said the commander of Earth's space station. This is Science Vessel Lumina from the Korra Collective, came the reply. We come in peace and bring someone who belongs to Earth. On the main military base, officers gathered in the control room. Captain Kim Do-yoon was there, now promoted to major. Tae-sung stood at the back of the room, his heart beating fast. What do they mean? Someone who belongs to Earth? Asked General Choi, the head of Earth's defense. Before anyone could answer, a screen lit up with an image from inside the Korra ship. Mireille stood there, her blue skin making some of the Earth officers gasp. But it was what stood beside her that made the room fall silent. A large wolf dog with reddish fur and yellow-purple eyes looked into the camera. Around his neck was a device that glowed softly. Fenrir, Tae-sung whispered. Major Kim's face went pale. Impossible. The translator device around Fenrir's neck lit up. A robotic voice came through the speakers. I have returned. I bring warning. I bring knowledge. The general looked shocked. Is that animal talking? Not exactly, Mireille explained. The device translates his thoughts. But yes, he is communicating, and he has important information for Earth. 3 hours later, the Korra ship was allowed to land at the main base. Soldiers surrounded the landing area, guns ready. Tae-sung had to fight to be allowed near the ship. When the doors opened, Mireille walked out first. She held her hands up to show she had no weapons. Behind her came 2 more Korra scientists. Then came Fenrir. He was bigger than when he had left Earth. His fur was thicker. His eyes seemed to glow with intelligence. He walked with a confidence that made even the armed soldiers step back. Fenrir scanned the crowd until he saw Tae-sung. Then he ran. Soldiers raised their guns, but Major Kim shouted, "Hold your fire." Fenrir reached Tae-sung and stopped just in front of him. For a moment, they just looked at each other. Then Fenrir pressed his head against Tae-sung's chest. Tae-sung wrapped his arms around the wolf dog's neck. I knew you were alive, Tae-sung said, his voice breaking. I knew you'd come back. The translator device spoke. I never forgot you. Later, in a large meeting room, Earth's leaders gathered to hear what Fenrir and the Korra had to say. Mireille explained how they had found Fenrir on Nexus 7 and how he had saved her life. But that's not all, she said. Show them, Fenrir. Fenrir stepped forward. From a pouch around his neck, he took out a small crystal. When he placed it on the table, it projected a map of space. The Voidborn Empire, Mireille said, pointing to a large red area on the map. "They have destroyed dozens of worlds, and now they are coming here." "Why should we believe this?" asked Major Kim. Fenrir looked directly at him. The translator spoke. "You left me to die. I lived. I learned. The Sentinel ship showed me the truth. Earth has 3 months before the Voidborn arrive." General Choi turned to his advisors. "Is this possible? Could we face such a threat?" One of them nodded slowly. "Our deep space scans have picked up something at the edge of our solar system. We thought it was a natural phenomenon, but—" Mayray stepped forward. "The Korra Collective offers our help. Together with Fenrir, we believe we can prepare Earth's defenses." Major Kim stood up angrily. "You expect us to trust our defense to an alien race we just met and a dog?" Fenrir growled, a sound that made everyone in the room freeze. The translator device spoke. "Not just a dog. Something more. Something you created but never understood." Tae-sung placed his hand on Fenrir's back. "He's right. We never understood what the Beast program was truly capable of. But now, Fenrir may be our only hope." 2 months passed quickly. Earth's military worked with the Korra Collective to prepare for the Voidborn attack. Fenrir spent his days moving between meetings, helping both sides understand each other. At night, he slept in Tae-sung's small apartment. Things were different now. Fenrir was not just a pet or a military asset. He was a bridge between worlds. "Are you sure the attack will come tomorrow?" Ta-sung asked one evening as they sat looking at the stars. Fenrir nodded. The translator spoke. The Sentinel ship's data was clear. The Voidborn always attack at dawn. Tae-sung looked worried. "Do you think we're ready?" "No," came the honest reply. "But we are stronger together than alone." In space, Earth's defense ships formed a protective ring around the planet. Korra ships joined them, their technology more advanced, but fewer in number. Major Kim commanded one of Earth's largest ships. He still did not fully trust Fenrir, but he respected the Wolf Dog's knowledge of the enemy. "All ships, final check," Kim said into his communicator. "Weapons ready. Shields at full power." The reports came back from all ships. They were as ready as they could be. Morning came. The sun rose over Earth. Nothing happened. "Maybe the data was wrong," someone said in the control room. Fenrir shook his head. His eyes were fixed on the large screen showing space around Earth. "They are coming." They hide their approach. Just as he said this, alarms began to sound. The screen showed new ships appearing out of nowhere. They were black, with shapes that hurt the eyes to look at. There were hundreds of them. "Voidborn ships detected," shouted an officer. "They're using some kind of cloaking technology." The Voidborn ships fired their first shots. 3 Earth ships exploded before they could even respond. "Return fire," ordered Major Kim. "All ships, attack pattern Delta." The battle was fierce. Earth and Korra ships fought bravely, but the Voidborn technology was strong. Their weapons cut through shields like they weren't there. In the main control room on Earth, Fenrir watched with Tae-sung and General Choi. The screen showed more and more Earth ships being destroyed. "We're losing," said the general. "Our weapons aren't strong enough." Fenrir stepped forward. The translator spoke. "I know their weakness. The Sentinel ship showed me." "What weakness?" asked Tae-sung. "Voidborn ships are connected. They share one mind. If we hit the command ship, all others become confused." "Which one is the command ship?" asked General Choi. Fenrir pointed to a ship in the center of the Voidborn fleet. It was bigger than the others, with strange spikes coming from its sides. "Our ships can't get close to that," said the general. "They'd be destroyed before they could fire." Fenrir's eyes seemed to glow brighter. "I need to connect to your main computer. I can guide your weapons better than any human." The room fell silent. Letting an animal connect to Earth's defense system was unheard of. "Absolutely not," said one of the advisors. "It's too risky." Tae-sung stepped forward. "Sir, Fenrir isn't just an animal anymore. His brain has evolved. He understands the Voidborn better than anyone. Another explosion lit up the screen. Another Earth ship gone. General Choi looked from the screen to Fenrir and back. "Do it," he finally said. "We have no other choice." Technicians brought in special equipment. Wires connected to the translator device around Fenrir's neck. More screens lit up, showing data flowing too fast for human eyes to follow. Fenrir closed his eyes. In his mind, he could see all of Earth's weapons as if they were parts of his own body. He could aim them with a thought. "Target locked," said the translator, firing. All of Earth's missiles and energy weapons fired at once, all aimed at the command ship. The Voidborn tried to dodge, but Fenrir adjusted the aim instantly. The command ship took a direct hit. It didn't explode. Instead, it seemed to fold in on itself, disappearing into nothing. Across the battlefield, the other Voidborn ships suddenly stopped moving. They drifted in space, like they didn't know what to do. "Now," shouted Major Kim over the communicator, "all ships, fire at will." The battle had turned. Earth had a chance now. And it was all because of the wolf they had left behind to die. The Voidborn ships were confused, but not defeated. After a few minutes, they began to move again. A new command ship took control. "They're regrouping," said General Choi. "Prepare for another attack." Fenrir was still connected to Earth's systems. His mind raced through data faster than any computer. The translator spoke. "We need more than weapons. We need the shield." "What shield?" Ta-Sung asked. "On Nexus 7, in the Sentinel ship, there is a shield technology. It can block Voidborn weapons." Mayray stepped forward. "He's right. We found plans for a planetary shield in the ship's database, but we don't know how to build it." "I know," said Fenrir through the translator. "I can build it, but I need help." General Choi nodded. "Whatever you need, just tell us." Fenrir, Tai-Sung, Mi-Ray, and Ji-Ho worked quickly in a large lab. Engineers brought the parts Fenrir requested. His paws couldn't build the device, but his mind directed the others. In space, the battle continued. Major Kim's ship was hit badly. Half of his crew was dead, but he kept fighting. "Sir," said his second-in-command, "we can't take much more damage." Kim looked at the screen showing Earth below them. He thought about his decision to leave Fenrir behind on Nexus 7. How wrong he had been. "We hold our position," Kim said firmly. "We give them time to finish the shield." The Voidborn ships moved closer to Earth, their weapons charged for a final attack. This one would hit the planet directly. In the lab, Fenrir and the team finished the shield device. It was smaller than anyone expected, just a metal ball with glowing lines across it. "Will this really protect the whole planet?" Ji-Ho asked doubtfully. Fenrir nodded. The translator spoke. "It uses Earth's magnetic field to expand. But someone must take it to the northern pole and activate it there." "I'll go," said Tai-Sung without hesitation. "No," said the translator. "Too dangerous for humans. The activation releases energy that would kill you." "I must go." Tai-Sung shook his head. "I'm not leaving you again." "You never left me," said the translator, as Fenrir looked into Tai-Sung's eyes. "They made you leave. This time, I choose." A small ship was prepared. Fenrir and Tai-Sung would fly to the North Pole. Against orders, Tai-Sung insisted on going, even though he would have to stay in the ship when Fenrir activated the device. As they flew, they watched the battle in space getting worse. More Earth ships were destroyed. The Korra ships fought bravely, but were outnumbered. Major Kim's ship took another hit. Fires burned on all decks. Systems failed. "Sir, we need to abandon ship," said an officer. "Not yet," said Kim. He opened a communication channel. "This is Major Kim to all ships. Focus fire on the new command ship. Give everything you have." Kim's ship flew directly at the Voidborn command ship. It was a suicide mission, and everyone knew it. At the North Pole, Fenrir carried the shield device in his mouth as he walked across the ice. Taesung watched from the ship, tears freezing on his face. In space, Major Kin's ship rammed into the Voidborn command ship. Both exploded in a ball of fire. The explosion damaged many other Voidborn ships around it. Fenrir reached the exact spot at the North Pole. He placed the device on the ice. It began to glow brighter. The translator spoke one last time. For Earth, for friendship. The device activated. A dome of light spread from it, growing larger and larger until it covered the entire planet. The light reached into space, pushing the Voidborn ships back. Every Voidborn weapon that hit the shield was absorbed and turned into more energy for the shield itself. Their attacks were making Earth stronger. Taesung watched as Fenrir stood at the center of the light. The wolf dog's body seemed to glow from within. Was this the end? Had Fenrir sacrificed himself to save Earth? Then the light changed. Instead of flowing out from the device, it began to flow into Fenrir. His eyes glowed brighter than ever before. His fur shimmered with energy. The shield didn't need the device anymore. Somehow, Fenrir had become the shield. 3 days after the shield activated, the last Voidborn ship left Earth's solar system. The war was over. Earth had won. But at what cost? Many ships were destroyed. Thousands of brave people had died, including Major Kim. And Fenrir. Taesung sat in the snow at the North Pole, staring at the spot where Fenrir had activated the shield. There was nothing there now. No device. No wolf dog. Just empty ice. He's gone, Taesung said to Mireille, who stood beside him. He saved us all. And now he's gone. Mireille put her hand on his shoulder. We don't know that for sure. The energy readings are still active. It's just that they're everywhere. Back at the main base, scientists studied data from around the world. The shield still protected Earth, even though the device was gone. It's as if the shield has become part of Earth's own magnetic field, said one scientist. But that's not possible. General Choi looked at the readings. After everything we've seen, I'm not sure what's possible anymore. A week passed. Taesung returned to his small apartment. It felt empty without Fenrir. He sat on his couch and looked at Fenrir's old bed in the corner of the room. I miss you, buddy, he said to the empty room. The lights in the apartment flickered. Then the television turned on by itself. Static filled the screen at first. Then shapes began to form. Taesung stood up slowly. Fenrir, is that you? The static formed into a clear image of a wolf. Then words appeared on the screen. I am here. Tears filled Taesung's eyes. Where are you? Eva, you read where? The shield. The power. I am part of it now. Can you come back? Can you be you again? The screen went blank for a moment. Then, I am earning. Give me time. Over the next month, strange things happened around the world. Computers worked better than before. Sick people in hospitals recovered faster. Damaged parts of the planet began to heal. And everywhere, dogs seemed to be smarter, more aware. Mireille worked with Earth scientists to understand what was happening. It's as if Fenrir's consciousness has spread into Earth's systems, she explained to General Choi. He's still protecting us, but in a new way. The Korra Collective offered to make Earth part of their alliance. Humans and Korra would work together to rebuild and prepare for any future threats. One day, as Taesung walked in a park near his home, a small puppy ran up to him. It had yellow eyes with a hint of purple. It looked up at him in a way that seemed strangely familiar. Fenrir, Taesung whispered. The puppy wagged its tail and jumped into his arms. Around its neck was a small device, much like the translator Fenrir had worn. Not exactly, said the translator. A part of me. A new beginning. The shield still holds my main consciousness, but I found a way to make this body, to be with you again. Taesung hugged the puppy tight. I can't believe it. You keep surprising me. Many more surprises to come, said the translator. The Voidborn will return someday, but we will be ready. Earth is changing, growing stronger. In a ceremony held a week later, the new alliance between Earth and the Korra Collective was made official. A special award was given to honor Fenrir's sacrifice. Ta-Sung accepted it, with the puppy sitting proudly beside him. General Choi announced the creation of a new program. The Beast program will be reformed, he said. But this time, we will treat our enhanced animals as partners, not tools. They will have rights and respect. The puppy looked up at Ta-Sung, his yellow-purple eyes shining with intelligence. What should I call you? Ta-Sung asked. You're not exactly Fenrir anymore. The translator spoke. Phoenix, like the bird that is reborn from ashes. Later, as they walked home together, Phoenix stopped and looked up at the stars. The translator spoke softly. There are other beasts out there, left behind on other worlds, evolving like I did. Someday, we will find them. Ta-Sung nodded, and when we do, we'll bring them home. The puppy wagged his tail. Earth was safe. For now. And somewhere in the shield that surrounded the planet, the consciousness that had once been a lonely wolf on an alien world continued to watch over his home. Not bad for a beast they had abandoned to die. The end.